Hey, Dan Meyer here, and I'm back once again with more tips based on my time at Wells Fargo. So this series of videos, why I left Wells Fargo and why it led to even more success after I left the bank, is because I learned valuable lessons. I learned a lot in my 15 years with the bank, and those things prepared me to be a successful entrepreneur. So if you're watching this video, I'm guessing you're probably either working for Wells Fargo or some other financial institution like a bank like Citibank or Bank of America, or maybe some other corporate job. But you're at that point in your career where you've been doing what you're doing for a while and you've gotten really good at it. And you've kind of hit a plateau, you've hit a ceiling where you just can't make as much money and have the lifestyle that you feel like you should be based on what you contribute, based on what you're able to do. And I see a lot of people that get to that point and they make a decision, I think I'll launch my own business. And you'll see a lot of them go into consulting, see a lot of people that try to figure out, what did I learn at Wells Fargo and how can I apply that as a business? And that's exactly what I did. Is I learned data analytics, I learned project management, I learned strategic planning, I learned marketing, I learned a lot of things at Wells Fargo that I then did for myself. And I've been pretty successful ever since. And that was 12 years ago. So the first couple years were a little bit, rough and give and take, a few, missteps here and there. But overall, by year 3, I was profitable and I've been doing pretty well ever since. And I always think back very highly on my time at Wells Fargo because it taught me a lot of things. And I'm gonna talk about 3 things today that I think you probably have learned in your time with your current job that have prepared you for success. So if you feel like you're good at managing your time and managing projects, if you got a good idea of how to stay focused, to follow a schedule, to be disciplined with your time, those are valuable assets for an entrepreneur because you get up every morning and you set your own day. So I use a spreadsheet to track my to-do list. I have, calendar app. I do everything I can to keep myself organized, and I learned a lot of that when I was at Wells Fargo. As far as you just get used to having a daily calendar, to have all your meetings lined up. You know how to manage your time when you have to finish certain projects or deliver certain things that need to be done, like reports or feedback on things or whatever it is you're doing. You've gotten pretty disciplined. You have to be if you've worked for a big company like Wells Fargo for 10 years. So project management, both formal project management, which I was a project manager and took a couple of courses to help me get even better, as well as just general project management, like lowercase p. You just manage projects, right? If you're good at that, then you're going to be much more successful as an entrepreneur than you would if you hadn't had that experience. The next thing is that strategic planning and marketing. The idea that you can look at the big picture, market based on demographics, use a lot of data in your marketing, try to figure out how to measure your return on investment, figure out cost savings, doing a lot of things that are involved in building a brand, selling a brand. Wells Fargo is great at that. I mean, Wells Fargo's got a very, very solid brand. Scandals aside, the brand itself, not necessarily the current political climate around the bank, but the stagecoach, been around for over 150 years, very, very conservative, simple, basically geared towards in middle America, or it's got that same kind of branding that's been successful for a long time. And the brand is marketed that way, right? So the people that are trying to attract, like Wells Fargo made most of its money for a long time off of mortgages, middle class homeowners. So you know your brand, and you look at Wells Fargo, the way how they've managed their brand, and then how you want to manage your brand, and then how you plan for it, right? Again, using the demographic data, using the analysis, your return on investment, all the kinds of things you can do. Which leads me to the third thing that I learned at Wells Fargo. So first was the project management, and the second was the strategic planning for marketing, and the third was data analysis, right? So I'm by nature an analyst. I worked most of my time at Wells Fargo on Excel spreadsheets and on more powerful business intelligence tools and doing code and writing SQL queries and so forth. But the one thing that everyone learns at Wells Fargo is it's very data driven, right? You're always looking at reports. You're always preparing numbers for a meeting, and you're always putting together a PowerPoint with some data in it. So that's a very important skill, so your ability to be able to make decisions based on data, to look at the data before you make choices. That's really important as an entrepreneur. So you make the right choices more often. You don't let your emotions run away with you. You look at a lot of concerns and ideas and interests and opportunities, and you look at all of them through a data-driven. That will help you. And at Wells Fargo, I got really good at data storytelling as well. So data storytelling, of course, is trying to influence an audience using data, right? So talking about data, whether it be, updating executives on a PowerPoint with some data in it, or explaining to the marketing team why we should, go into this region instead of this region, and why we should focus this product because of the demographics that it appeals to. Things like that, and talking about it and sharing it and kind of being able to communicate. One of my superpowers at Wells Fargo was I could take a massive data set and boil it down to 3 bullet points that an executive could use in a presentation. And being able to kind of funnel data that way, and then use it to be able to not just make decisions myself, but to inform others, to educate and even influence others on what they can do based on that data. So when you think about the things that you learned while you were working for a Wells Fargo or a corporate job, whatever you're doing, and you're thinking about applying that to a small business, you're going to have a benefit of being able to be more focused, manage your time better, make better decisions. Those things are just natural for someone who's worked in a company like Wells Fargo for 10 years. The cool thing is now you can teach it to others, because most people do not have that experience. So if you're going to go into any kind of coaching, if you're going to do a business coaching model, or if you're going to try to teach people how to be better at what they do, or you're going to work as a consultant, trying to take your knowledge and whatever it may be, like maybe you're great at operations or HR or risk management or compliance or whatever it is that you're doing, and you want to take that on your own, you'll be able to speak as an expert. You'll be able to use the skills and the habits you picked up at Wells Fargo to both make yourself better in your own business as well as those businesses that you work with. So that's why I think it was so cool that I worked for Wells Fargo, but I'm also so happy that I left, because after 15 years there, I had a good time, but since I've left Wells Fargo and been my own boss, I've had a great time. So that's my talk for you today. I hope it helped. Think about the things you learned in your job and how they're going to help you as you launch and grow your own business. Thanks a lot, and get out there and have a great day.